Hey all, hope you are doing well. I'm going to do a little run through of all the disaster movies that I watched over the last few weeks. I was just in a mood, wanted to see things being destroyed and uh, people getting squished and squashed and drowned and all that good stuff. So, first one I'll talk about is it has a definite sci-fi movie feel to it with the CGI and all, but not a bad movie. It's called Into the Storm. It stars Richard Armitage. I can never say his name right. Sarah Wayne Callis and Matt Walsh. It's a decent little tornado chaser kind of movie, and I did rank it as 7. I'm ranking them from 1 to 7, 1 being poor, and 1 to 10. Sorry, 1 to 10. 1 being poor, 10 being good. That one got a 7. The next one that I watched was the remake of the Poseidon Adventure. This one is not the classic one with Adam. This one stars Adam Baldwin, Rutger Hauer, Steve Guttenberg, Brian Brown, and Peter Weller. This is a remake of the old big wave hits, boat flips it over, lots of mayhem underneath the water trying to get from what was the top of the boat, which is now underwater, to the bottom of the boat, which should be underwater. Some thrills and chills. I gave that one a 6.5. It was all right. It was not a great remake. I also have somewhere in my collection it's not a remake. It's like a second story of a second group of people. It was like the Poseidon Adventure 2. I could not find that one. I know I had it on DVD at one point, but the next one is a good one. San Andreas, basically a big earthquake hits California as they do. Stars The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. I love this movie. I love his daughter in this movie. It's very actiony. The special effects are fun, and I do give that one a 9 because it's one that I watch over and over again, and I do enjoy it. The next one I'll talk about is called Geostorm. This one stars Gerald Butler. I always want to call him Gerard Butler. It's kind of an interesting little ditty about some issues that affect the world that's going on up in the stars. Yeah, fun, a decent little movie. It also stars Ed Harris and Andy Garcia. I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I gave it a 7.5. This next one, I only watched the first one. There are 4 in this trilogy. This is one of the more man-made disasters. The majority of the ones that I watch, of course, are natural disaster movies, so all the goodies. This particular movie is a man-made disaster, and they were real big in the 70s. It's the original airport. This is really just a love story with a bomb towards the end. It took that long to get any of the disaster part of it into the movie. The rest of them were not quite as love story-ish. They were, but they weren't. So this one really is a slow burn. It's kind of cheesy. It stars Dean Martin. There's some of the other golden oldies that starred in other horror movies like this in their day. Burt Lancaster was in this. Jacqueline Bisset, George Kennedy, who was also in Earthquake, which we'll talk about later, and just a bunch of other people. So yeah, I gave this a 6. It was okay. It was not really enough disaster for me. The next one is another man-made disaster movie from the 70s, The Towering Inferno. This is a fun one. Stars Steve McQueen and Paul Newman, who were both big hunkas back in their day, as well as Faye Dunaway, the crazy actress that everybody talks so poorly about working with, but she was what she was. I liked her. I gave this one a 7.9. It takes, once again, it takes a while, and it goes on just a little bit too long for me. But it was still a good movie about a towering inferno. It was the biggest building around, had all these special features and could do all these things. The only thing it couldn't do was prevent it from itself from being the victim of a terrorist attack. And then once the fire started, you had all these people, they were trying to get down out of the sky. So lots of people falling out of buildings and all that good stuff. The next one is similar. It is Skyscraper with Dwayne Johnson once again. This was another movie about a big building, and The Rock had to get up to the top of that big building to save his wife and daughter who were there at the time. Interesting. Daughter, was it daughter and son? Yeah. But yeah, it was okay. It wasn't my favorite movie. There was a little bit more action than I expected, but yeah, it was okay. You know, I gave it a 6. All right, you know what movie I forgot to put in this stack? The original Twister, the OG, the tornado movie. We're just gonna talk about that one for a minute with Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt. Love that movie. Probably one I watch more than any of the others. So that would definitely get a 9.5 from me because it is just such a fun tornado movie. God bless and rest in peace, Bill Paxton. Next one I'm going to talk about, another older movie. This was from the 70s once again. This was Earthquake. This movie I loved. I have always loved this movie. Once again, it's one of those movies that stars like 1,000 older actors that were kind of waning in their career, and they just stuck them in all these movies. So, yeah, Charlton Heston, Ava Gardner, George Kennedy again, Lauren Green was in this one, just Richard Roundtree, just a whole bunch of people. But it's a good movie. I love the special effects. It was pretty groundbreaking for the time, when you see Los Angeles kind of falling apart, and there's a scene where an airplane is landing and the earthquake's going on, and it's very intense. So I love this movie. I gave it a 9. Another kind of end of days movie, which I enjoyed a lot too, is 2012. This one, once again, the special effects are amazing in this one. This one, of course, stars John Cusack, and he and his family are trying to get to a different country to get into these bunkers to be safe from the impending collapse of the world because of all the natural disasters that are going on. Lots of fun. Woody Harrelson is hilarious in this. I thought John Cusack, I love him, so he was good in it. And actually, it was a fun movie. It was just overall good watch. 2012, I gave that one a 9 as well. Now, another end of days movie that got very little love at the box office, well, mainly because there was no box office when it was released. It was released in 2020. And of course, COVID had everything shut down, so it did not get a lot of buzz. It's a good movie. If you enjoy disaster movies, this one is a good one. It's called Greenland. It stars Gerald Butler again. This is basically a kind of end of days movie. Once again, the world is going to be destroyed, and basically Gerald Butler and his family are trying to get, once again, to another country where they have actually Greenland, because they have these bunkers there, and people were picked randomly, not randomly, they were picked by their positions to go to this, and they actually were picked. His family was actually picked to go, but then denied because of an illness. So this story is all about him trying to get his child and his wife over to Greenland and save them. Excellent movie. I give it a 9. The next couple of movies are either Chinese, Japanese. I'm not Korean. I'm not exactly sure. They were dubbed, which almost made it worse. The movies themselves were pretty good, but to just leave the language and put subtitles because it looks weird whenever they're talking. This first one is called Ashfall. It's about a volcanic eruption. Once again, pretty decent movie overall. It basically talked about it's a China North Korea movie where the volcano erupts and basically all these people are trying to get away from it, and then they run into this whole bank heist thing that's going on at the same time. So yeah, it was good. It was all right. It was a 7. That's all I'm giving it. The next one is Skyfire. Once again, this one was about a volcanic eruption, and in the beginning of it, there's this little girl, and there's a volcanic. She's with her parents on an island, and there's this eruption that takes place, and her mother are trying to get back to where the father is. And long story short, the mom doesn't make it. The daughter grows up to become a volcanologist or whatever they call them. There's a big eruption taking place in another area, and she and her family basically try to save the little town that is in the way. Pretty good. I enjoyed this one more than the last one that I talked about, Ashfall. Overall, I gave it a 7.5. This next one was not my favorite by any stretch of imagination. This was as low as it went. It's called Hurricane Heist. I got this mainly because it was from the people who did The Fast and the Furious. Overall, basically you have, just like it says, there's a big hurricane coming towards Louisiana, Mississippi, that area. There is a depository there, and they have billions of dollars that they need to shred. But this terrorist group have been messing with the machinery so that they can't shred it, so because they know that this hurricane's coming and they want to go and get the money. So basically it's a heist that goes on during a hurricane. It didn't do a whole lot for me. As a matter of fact, I found myself piddling on the computer and stuff throughout. I thought the acting was okay, but it was just not my kind of movie, so I gave that one a 5. Probably one of my very favorites, along with Twister, is Dante's Peak with Pierce Brosnan and Linda Hamilton. Love this movie. About a volcano that erupts, and basically the story of the town that is in the path of the eruption. Good story, great suspense, great build up, and special effects are amazing. Another one of my OG favorites is The Day After Tomorrow. This is one where the weather pattern of the Earth is changing, brings about all kinds of crazy weather, and then finally culminates into the big 3 storm systems that cover the majority of the planet. This stars Jake Gyllenhaal and Dennis Quaid, among others, and it's their fight for survival. I gave this one a 9.0. Great special effects. Another movie that did not get a lot of press is called The Impossible. And this movie is really good. It is about basically a true story, or based on true events that happened to a family during the Indian Ocean tsunamis that hit all those little islands. It stars Ewan McGregor and Naomi Watts, and basically it's the story of these two. They're married, and how they survive and ultimately reunite after the events of the tsunami. But it's really good. It's interesting. It's exciting. It's a fun movie. I'm almost done. Next one is Volcano. Also, a good movie. I like Tommy Lee Jones and I like Anne Heche, and I like the movie itself. It's just not as good to me as Dante's Peak. Now, some people say the opposite. They think Volcano is better than Dante's Peak. This one is about a volcano that erupts in downtown Los Angeles, creating havoc and chaos. Tommy Lee Jones is Tommy Lee Jones. He's pretty awesome in everything he does. But yeah, I gave that one an 8.5. And if I didn't say it, I gave The Impossible a 9, as well as The Day After Tomorrow. This next one is part of it's got two parts to it, actually. The first one that was released is called The Wave, and this is also a foreign film. This is about a giant tsunami that hits after an earthquake in this little area. Let me see where it does. I can't remember the area that it's in, but it's basically in a canyon type area, and what happens is there's an earthquake that causes this tsunami to come towards this little bitty beautiful mountain village, and the people have to get away from the wave. There's a family, a father and mother and two kids. The mother's working at her job in the village. The father and the two kids are trying to get away from the wave, thinking that the mother was also, finds out that she's not. So there's a whole rescue effort. Absolutely beautiful. Scenery and the special effects are great. I gave this one an 8.5. And then they went ahead and decided to release one, same family, called The Quake. This is in a different area of the same country, and this is basically about an earthquake that hits that particular area. It's got some sad moments in it, that's for sure, but I like this one just as much as that first one, so it also gets an 8. And my last 3 that I just finished watching, first of all, is Crawl. I love this one. This one is about a hurricane that's really a hurricane. It's also got alligators in it. So basically what happens is there's this huge hurricane. This girl goes back to where her father is, who's already getting hit by the hurricane. They end up getting trapped in his house, underneath his house. And as the water rises, so do the alligator counts. So you have not only the intenseness of the storm and then the storm surge and all of that stuff that happens, but then you have these alligators wanting to eat them, and eat people they do. So that was a fun one. I give that one a 9. It's just really exciting. I do not own the counterpart to this one. This is Deep Impact. It's about a big meteor that ends up hitting the Earth. This one starred, I'm trying to think who, Tia Leone, Elijah Woods was the young boy. There were a few. Morgan Freeman played the president. Pretty good movie. It's my favorite. I do not own Armageddon. I don't know why. I was never much of a fan of that movie. Maybe I should go ahead and pick it up and try to give it a rewatch. I just love this one. It's very exciting. The special effects are great. It's kind of sad. A lot of people that I like died in it, and I'm not going to give any spoilers, but people that you don't expect to die in these kind of movies died. Made me sad. All right, and then the last one I'm going to talk about is the OG Poseidon. Nope, this is the Poseidon Adventure. Where's my Poseidon Adventure? I forgot to bring that over here too. Well, anyway, the OG Poseidon Adventure is definitely an 8.5, 9 for me as well. About the big wave hitting the boat and tipping it over. This is a remake, kind of, sort of, called Poseidon. It was released later in I want to say mid-2020s, mid-2010s, somewhere around there. Stars Josh Lucas, who's one of my favorite actors. This movie is not as good as Poseidon Adventure, the original Poseidon Adventures, but it definitely has its good points. So I highly recommend Poseidon and Poseidon Adventure. They're just fun to watch. Once again, rogue wave tips the boat over. Lots of famous people starring in this one. So yeah, if you enjoy that, it's a little bit claustrophobic, I'm not gonna lie. When they have those underwater scenes, or when the water's rising and it's getting up, yeah, it's a little claustrophobic. But that is it for my basic review. This is a long video, so I'm going to stop it now. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you more later. Bye.